Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Dubs. I'm your host, Bill T. Well, it's Friday, and you know what that means, another podcast for you. And on today's Friday the 13th, I'm going to be headed down to Phoenix, Arizona for the Desert Dubs Fest. So we're going to be checking that show out down in Phoenix, Arizona. So check it out. You guys can find it by checking out Driven60 or Desert Dubs on Instagram. And that's where I'm going to be this weekend. So if you see me, say what up, and I might have a little something for the listener. So anyway, today's podcast is a great one. I know you guys are going to enjoy it. I get to sit down with Buddy Hale and we talk about Karma, winning the Grand National Roadster Show, and the whole experience of building the car and what went into building Karma. So definitely a lot of cool information and detail on that. But don't forget to support those that support your favorite podcast. Ross Wolf, high quality aftermarket parts for enthusiasts by enthusiasts. Go check them out today at rosswolf.com. Go pick up some pretty cool stuff. You got a bus, you can pick up stainless steel deck lid hinges as well as a radial block off plate. If your dash is all chewed up in the bus you just bought and it's an early split, they make a really cool radial block off plate that kind of matches the design and covers up just about any nasty hole you might have in the dash of your bus. So go check that stuff out at Ross Wolf. We're also going to be doing a giveaway coming up here with the Ross Wolf Complete Viton gasket kit. So look out for this weekend. I'll do a little teaser that you guys will know how to win the Complete Viton engine reseal kit. So it'll come with the sump plate, the push rod tube seals, and whatnot. So keep an eye out for that. Also, VW Trends Magazine back on the scene after a long hiatus. Go subscribe today for your 4 copies a year of VW Trends Magazine at vwtrendsmagazine.com. So again, this weekend, guys, I'm going to be out there in Phoenix at the Desert Dubs VW show. So go check that out, the Desert Dubs Fest. I think there's something going on today at Doug's Bugs and Bunnies. I think there's a bit of an open house as well as as something happening tomorrow afternoon. There'll be kind of an after party and some stuff like that. But go check out the show. They're estimating about 500 cars. So you see me, I'll be down there. I'll bring Zorba and be on the road later today. So interestingly enough, this is episode 350. So there's been 349 episodes put out since the last time we talked to Buddy Hale. And it's only fitting he's on episode 350. So on this week's episode, let's get into it, guys. Type 1 Restoration, the Grand National Roadster Show, Al Slonaker Award winner of 2026 with Karma on this week's Let's Talk Dubs.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen. It's got everything that people who like the bug like. So if you happen to see a good-looking Volkswagen, don't panic.
Okay, everybody. So on today's podcast, you guys have seen the news recently with respect to what's been happening in the VW world. And the newest thing that's been happening for the past little bit is we've been watching Buddy Hale, who's been really pushing the boundaries in the VW customization era and really just kind of doing something different than a lot of guys have been doing. And on today's podcast, we're going to have Buddy Hale with Type 1 Restorations, and we're going to discuss Karma, the car that took the Al Slonaker Award at the 2026 Grand National Roadster Show. So, Buddy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hey, so it's been, it's funny. It's been a while since we had you on, and the last time we had you on, it was the first podcast that I started, and that's December 2018 is when we had you on the podcast last. And
wow.
So since then, obviously you've been doing some pretty big things with respect to, the whole Volkswagen scene as far as car customization has been going. You've always kind of done your own thing and had your own style. And we saw a couple years ago, we were supposed to do a podcast about Turmoil and some of that stuff. And in the history since you've last been on the podcast, since 2018, you kind of went to battle in 2021, was it, with Turmoil?
2022.
In 2022.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, with Turmoil. Yeah. Took that car to the Grand National Roadster Show, and you competed for the Al Slonaker Award. You were up against some pretty stiff competition, and you held your own over there for sure. I mean, really kind of made a big splash in the car customization era for that, because that level is a whole nother level of customization, not anything that you see at your typical Volkswagen show, that's for sure. And kind of went at it with Turmoil, and then you went back to the drawing board after all the agony and pain of going through that with Turmoil. You go back at it again with this new car that you've got. So tell us about the new car Karma, and really, before we get into that, tell me about your desire for the Slonaker Award to go after that. Like, where does that all come from?
Well, first, and I think it was when did they start contacting people for the
in 2020? Yeah.
Was it 2020?
Yeah.
So essentially, that's when it kind of came to play, when they contacted us, and they kind of they asked us, like, what do we have? What are we working on? So I sent them photos of the split we were working on, and they're like, hey, you guys should maybe consider doing this class, the Slonaker. And before then, I never even heard of it. So, it basically went from, and the funny thing about that car is that car was almost done at the time too. So that's the funny thing about that car. And so it went from that to just kind of focused on that show for the next 2 years, 3 years. No, it was 4 years. Yeah, it was 4 years.
Yeah, because after the Slonaker, after your debut, when you debuted that car kind of at the Slonaker, before you really started kind of hitting the hot rod circuit, after that, you kind of started taking it to a couple of their hot rod shows. What's been your experience with respect to, like, what makes those shows draw at you more, like your desire to go to some of the hot rod shows and stuff like that? Like what? Well,
the first thing is, like you just said, it's just like the respect that these guys have for, that caliber of a car.
Right.
You take that stuff to a VW show, and those people just hate on those cars that we do. Yeah. That's the funny thing about it.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, and to talk on that a little bit, right? Because it's kind of like, buddy, you're a guy that you put everything into what you build, right? You're pretty invested emotionally, physically, all these things in these cars. And then you take it to a show where it's like, you did when you did Randy Gates' car, right? You brought out this winner, and it was like this big, huge thing. It was a kind of a benchmark car, but that car fit within the realm of cow look, right?
Yeah.
And so
exactly, yeah.
There was kind of a different way that you were perceived with that, right? All of a sudden it was like, here's Buddy Hale. And then you start doing stuff like, cause there was a lot of touches on that car, like the style of paint and detail, the custom shift lights, the little tiny things that you do, the little customization tricks that you would do to that car while trying to stay in the confines of cow look. Right. And then as you get an opportunity to start going a little further, then what's the next car you do after Randy?
Oh, I don't.
Well, you had there was the red, Gary Stell's red Ghia, was that the red Ghia, the red convertible.
Yeah. David Ho's car.
Yeah. Another Type 34.
Dean Kirsten's car.
Yeah. So there's been
Kirsten.
And Dean's car is another car that's like got a lot of custom tricks to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of for what it is. Yeah.
Right. It's definitely
subtle, though.
Definitely not an off the shelf, not what you'd call an off the shelf cow looker 67.
No.
And so as you start bringing some of these other cars, cause you just keep pushing the boundaries, and then your feeling of the VW scene is like, they're kind of real rigid, stuck in like what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And it's like,
yes.
And for you, what's that like? I mean, like you're just looking at like too many limitations.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of disrespectful, to be honest with you. It's like, the main thing like they were focusing on the time was like how much money is into this car, and oh, this guy's so rich, they can just do whatever they want. So it was really frowned upon,
Right. It's kind of,
and so from that aspect of it, just the attitude of the people that kind of like drove me away from that, and before the Slonaker came up, I wasn't really in it anymore. I had no motivation to do this.
Yeah.
So my motivation was gone. So as the Slonaker came, I'm like, here's this whole nother avenue that we can go down and just try to see, throw our hand in the game and see what comes of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you know, and maybe it's also the show circuit too, right? Like the big show at the time was the classic, the change in the VW scene as a whole, with like the infighting in Southern California between show promoters trying to undercut each other, overload Cow Look weekend and make it Cow Look month. And then, you know, a lot of that, I believe personally, a lot of that had to do with really the dynamics of where now was the show to debut the car at, right? So like, you know, when we're talking
too,
yeah. So when you're talking like Turmoil, you know, that car it's just an incredible benchmark car that's just built to a whole nother level. And it seems like the VW scene kind of gets stuck in like, oh, here's this super rare part that I have. And, you know, they're really hard to find, but really you can find them. Right. And so the whole thing then becomes like the race of what's more rare than something else. And so, you know, I could definitely see by that time it getting pretty exhausting to you, because here you're putting your heart and soul in these cars. You show up at a show, and then rather than being surrounded by positive comments about it, everybody's looking for an angle like, well, yeah, I guess if you put enough money,
negative,
you know what I mean? Like, so I totally get what you're saying from that standpoint. And kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to touch on this is just because it's one of the things that that made you look elsewhere for having the creativity and really your artistic endeavor in these cars be appreciated, right? Because you see, it's kind of going over everybody's head in the VW scene, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if Turmoil would debut at DKP? You know what I mean? They would have looked at that car like,
yeah.
Some guy drags a car from back east, a pile of shit out there with missing half the stuff, and they'll pick that car over that car.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, and that's the thing is like you can go to like a hot rod show and like these guys are actually going to judge the craftsmanship of the vehicle.
Right.
And for me, that was just luring for me. I'm like, this is where we need to be. This other stuff it's been a waste of my time for so many years.
Well,
and that's honestly how I feel about it now. But it's a stepping stone.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, and that's kind of one of the reasons why you've been a part of kind of the group helping with like with One Crazy Weekend last year, we came up with like a best of show, like you make the custom billet trophy and we really try to make it, you know, because with the classic going away and then the kind of the challenge, the DKP thing is like, I remember the double cab caused some trouble over there. Because they were like, everybody was like, it's not Cow Look. And a lot of guys were like, it's a really cool, unique build. We should choose it. And the same thing happened with the Type 34, you know, the gray car. And it's like, and it was like, well, it has a Type 4, it's fuel injected. You know, sometimes it just starts going over people's heads to some degree. Yeah.
And it's their opinion. It's what they want to pick, right? So at the end of the day, it's what they're going after. It's not it's not the best car in the parking lot. That's for sure. That usually gets a win.
Right. Right. And so with that, so you debut, you take Turmoil out to the show, and then you go from the going for the Slonaker, and you decide to take that car on kind of a tour of some of the other events. You hit the GNRS in Sacramento.
Yeah, so we went there. Mm-hmm. We went to Tennessee for the Triple Crown, which that show is amazing. That's probably is my favorite show. That show's unbelievable.
So tell me about the Triple Crown a little bit. What's the Triple Crown all about?
So essentially, I mean, they get the best cars, you know, throughout the country, and they basically, you battle for top 30, Elite 10, and all these other awards that you battle for, and it's just a really good environment, super fun, and good people, and great weather, and the scenery is amazing, and it's just unbelievable. Yeah,
because last year when you took, I think you went the first year you took Turmoil, and then did you take Turmoil and Wayne's car out the same year?
No, Wayne's car went out the following year.
Yeah, Wayne's car went out the following year, and there's another car, right? It's another that's another car that's probably one of the baddest cars built, and most people that walk by it, they don't they don't
No.
appreciate the level of detail that's in
Yeah.
that car. I mean, that car is just,
And he drives the living shit out of it.
yeah, that's even more awesome, right? I mean, Wayne's car is just, it's just got a ton of custom stuff done to it,
Yeah.
and it's just something where, it's one of these cars where the customization on that car is so subtle, if you don't know what you're looking at, you're going to miss half of it,
Yeah.
and
That's my favorite car, by the way, that we've ever done.
Oh,
I love that. That's still my. Oh yeah, that's even over the Ghia. That thing is so awesome.
well, what's really cool about the 60 watt is what the car's called, right? So what's cool
Yeah.
about that car is everything from from the interior bits to I mean, it's just got custom interior. I mean, nothing super crazy, but everything just touched a
Yeah.
little bit, right?
Clean. Yeah.
And now, so going off that, you go now this next year, and Bad Karma it really started out called Bad Karma, right?
No, it was Menace at first.
Oh, Menace. That's right.
Yeah, and then we took it to the interior shop, and the guy's like, "Why isn't this called? Wasn't it called named Karma?" And they actually named it. I was like, "Man, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, because this car,
So
I mean, you really followed kind of a template for a lot of the guys in the hot rod world. You went to a real full custom interior shop.
Yeah, hot rod shop. Yeah, Tracy Weaver. He recovery room did an amazing job on the interior.
Yeah, I mean the interior on Karma is just it's so wild that
Yeah,
and again you're back to another thing where do people get it? Do they see the level of detail that's gone into this interior, from the custom panels to everything else? I mean, it's got so much custom stuff done to it. Let me see. I'll pull up a little shot of the interior, but I mean, you're talking layers of
yeah,
wild detail. The rear
Yeah.
and the rear package tray is all form fit, and it's got the nitrous
yeah.
bottle in there, and it's got the access panels, all that stuff. I mean, and this
Yeah.
was
Mike,
go ahead.
good.
No,
Yeah, Mike Bailey did our fabricator, Mike Bailey did all those surrounds, and he did a lot of work on that interior. I mean, if you look back in those back corners, you know how hard those back panels were to make?
oh, I can only imagine. I mean, that whole thing, it looks like and the inside hasn't been modified custom, or has it been all modified to wrap that in there? Or did he make it fit
Oh
stock
yeah,
Ghia?
all that rear, all that whole back area, you're looking at 90% of that back area is custom made, handmade.
And the seats are wild looking. Now, those stock seats that have been modified?
Yeah, the bases. Yeah. We just kind of used the base and no springs, and I did a lot of work to those.
So the base on the seat is solid foam, sculpted out of foam, the whole thing?
Yeah. I would assume so. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's so clean. You know what I mean? And the funny part is, a lot of us VW guys, we'll go to the SEMA show and we'll see stuff and we'll get motivated and inspired. And then you come back to the VW scene and it almost feels like the VW scene just has these guardrails. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's been kind of it to some degree. And I kind of side with you on this. It makes it unfun as a hobby, because it's, everything is so limited. And really, when you see stuff that's done and it makes you think something different, or makes you see something. Because when you see some of those cars that are built by Troy, Rad Rides by Troy, or
unbelievable
Roadster Shop, or Ring Brothers, like all these guys, they just build some insane stuff. And a lot of these guys have been in the game for a long time. They've got a huge reputation. They're building $1 million cars every year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is, here you are competing with those same guys with a Volkswagen, and it's interesting because there have been four of the VWs that won the Slonaker, right? So we had the first one was in the late 70s or early 80s. It was Top Gun, and at the time I think it was called Eliminator or something like that. And then you had Pink Lady, and then you had Rodbuster. And then you now have, you now have Karma, right? But what you'll notice throughout the car customization era, the car that would be the closest to having the level of detail like your car has would be like Rodbuster, right? And Rodbuster, when that car was built, was like, it's decades ahead of its time with respect to like their billet machining stuff when billet just came out, when CNC machining and all that stuff first came out. And so
so that was in what, 85?
Yeah, in 1985.
Yeah, so that was the last one to win it. That was what, 40? Is that 40 years ago?
Yeah, 40 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
So it's been it's been a while, and the car customization game has changed immensely. I mean, from interiors to level of detail. Now this car has an incredible amount of hours in it and machine work and stuff like that. Is the list shorter of like what parts are not custom machined on this car?
Yeah. Yeah. The list is shorter on things we didn't make.
Because you've made the axle tubes, you've made the brake bleeders, you made the brake rotors were custom machined out of a solid block of cast iron.
Yeah, the front arms, the King and Link pins. I mean, there's the steering, the entire steering wheel, all the way down, basically to the steering box. I mean, yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, I mean, there's just such a crazy level of detail. Now, this under the front hood, you've got the old school humpback tank with some breather setups on it. There is that what that. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
And then you followed that whole breather setup with the geez, it's like, where do you stop on this car, right? Like everything from the interior with the embossed foot pad.
I like that picture right there. That's a cool picture.
Yeah. It's just,
and I told Tracy from Recovery Room when he was doing that, I'm like, you motherfucker, you better put your logo on that. Cause if you don't, I'm going to be pissed. Because when we were competing with Turmoil, Will from Big Oak, they debuted an Impala, and I just remember going over that interior and seeing that badge. I'm like, man, I just, the thought of just like working with someone like that, and at that time it was so I couldn't grasp it, I couldn't reach it at that time. So to team up with him and like get the car there, I'm like, it was so important for that badge to be in that car for me.
I mean, when you look at like around the pedal assembly, there's a billet machined trim plate that isolates the carpet from the metal where the pan is, and it's just like that level of detail. Now this is a full custom machine set of pedals for the car.
Yeah. Evan designed those and machined them.
So what's Evan's name and his shop?
OKE Tool and Machine.
And where are they located?
Yeah, Evan, 10 doors down from us in Tempe.
Oh, perfect. And so, I mean, for him to machine that stuff for you is just like, it's a lot of time first in design work, right? Because I'm sure no one's ever CAD drawn a set of VW pedals, and you got to start with going from the stock pedals and start building off of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is his second set that he's done.
That is incredible, man. And all the hardware on this car has been custom machined. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. He did all that stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about.
Yeah, basically, yeah, he did. He's a nut.
I mean, when I look at this, like the pieces here for the brake bleeders, you had the brake bleeders custom machined, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like.
Yeah, I mean, I basically go to him and because what I do every night when I was building that car is I photograph everything, come home, blow everything up, dissect every single part, and then come back to him the next day. And I know I was driving him fucking crazy. And I'm like, dude, we got to make this part. We got to make this part. And everything that I threw at him, he made. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I just can't go over the level of customization. Now there was some pretty stiff competition out there at the Slonaker Award. I mean, there was a lot of super, super high level cars. And, I'm thinking with respect to what was your feeling when you kind of went in there and you started getting set up? Like when you're looking at the other cars that were there?
I had a chance to look at my buddy Zach debuted that black 56 there. And That car's so unassuming. I had a chance to like look at that thing. They had it jacked up in the parking lot. They had a couple adjustments that they had to make to the car, and I crawled underneath that thing, and I was like, man, fuck, holy shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we got some competition. Like, it wasn't like it's, you know, the cars that showed up were slouches, you know? And also, too, we knew that car was getting built because we just happened to be in Indiana about a year ago, and they were on a Saturday, and they were working on that car. And when me and Evan left that place, that black 56 was our main driving force the remainder of the time, because I knew that car was coming. So I'm like, we have to make this thing unbelievable.
Yeah.
If we even stand a chance against that car.
I mean, to give everybody kind of a rundown of the cars that were there, there was one of the cars you had. I saw him on the Roadster shop, but it was.
Oh yeah, that Chevelle was amazing.
Matt Jules 70 Chevy Chevelle, and then you had looks like Bob sitting Sightsinger 34 Chevy Master Sedan.
Yeah, that was a cool car.
Yeah, the Donto Dingalo 41 Chevy Deluxe Coupe. This 33 Ford was wild.
Yeah,
the Studebaker, you know, the Studebaker.
There was reportedly a lot of money thrown at that car too.
Oh yeah, well, first and foremost, the Studebaker, right? Like
was,
everything on it.
Look at that car.
Ridiculously expensive. I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, that.
I was trying to get by the crowd because it seemed like Karma had a huge crowd around it all day.
Yeah,
You know?
That Corvette was super nice too.
Yeah, I mean, every one of these
Really
cars, that was going for it, was a pretty serious car. And this Brett Clemens 56 Chevy 210, that's the one you're talking about?
Yeah. Oh man, that car, there's so much going on with that car, and it's so understated.
Yeah.
People had no idea what they were looking at when they were walking around that car. That's for sure.
Well, you know, and that's one of the things that I thought when I saw the car debut, right? When I saw it there, I thought, wow, I'm thinking, because there's so many factors that you're thinking in your head, right? Because I saw the color, and the color was so different, and there seems to be, and what I mean by different, like different than what you would expect in that lineup, right? You see, there's like that Nardo gray Chevelle. You know, everybody has this tendency to use like kind of colors that are kind of in fad right now. You know what I mean? Like if you'll see that, you'll see a lot of cars that are kind of looking like that, but you kind of, the color on Karma is, what color is that? Is that is that one of the factory VW colors, or is it different?
No. Yeah, that's different. Yeah. We basically start from a color chart.
Cause it's kind of
tint it from off the color chart.
What color would you say that is? Because I'm a little colorblind. I don't want to say what color it is.
I mean, it's just olive green. It's just a metallic olive green.
So it is a metallic green, because it kind of reminded me of like the early the 69 Camaro green, right? Like is a little bit of that gold. Yeah. It's kind of a gold green.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you started building this car, did you have like a concept drawing of what you were going to do, or were you just building it
just in my head? Yeah, just in my head.
And now
kind of had an idea of what we were going to do, and everything just kind of morphed from there.
Now, with having the experience of doing Turmoil, what were some things after having that experience where you're thinking, listen, when I'm going to do this car, I'm going to do something, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z? Were you thinking that because Turmoil was a Beetle, it might have got overlooked? Were you thinking you had to come with a different platform? Like what was the beginning of this game plan, or did this kind of turn into you've got and now the owner of the car is his owner of the car's name is
Dennis Troggio.
Yeah, Dennis Troggio.
Troggio.
Yeah. And so when he brought you the car, was this a goal for him to get it to the Roadster Show, or he was starting with, or did this kind of?
No, he just wanted to build a Ghia because his brother had one, and so we found it, and you know, he retired from his job, so he was bored, and then so when we got back from the show, you know, it was maybe a couple weeks after, we had lunch with him, and I was telling him about the show, and he's like, man, I think I kind of want to do it. But his stipulation was if we do it, I want to be a part of it. I want to work on this thing.
Oh, really?
And Oh yeah, dude. And he was down there. Like he's retired, right? Freaking multimillionaire. He's down there sanding polyester
Really?
and block sanding. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he was down there for months with us
So he's,
standing on that car.
I mean, I think that's probably a pretty unique circumstance, right? Not a lot of these cars like
Oh
this
yeah.
have the guy hands on with it. Now, so
Yeah.
was he kind of like, buddy, I want you to do what you think you should do with this thing for this car to take that award? Did he have like what?
He never said a word. He's just like, let's do it.
So what he was like,
Yeah,
whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Now, talk to me a little bit about.
He's great. He's crazier than I am.
Well, that's awesome, and I'm definitely gonna want to do an interview with him as well coming up. Now, talk to me about the wheels. What's the background, the story, on the wheels?
Well, the background is, the background of those wheels. Those wheels were a nightmare. We originally in SEMA. I don't remember what year it was. There was a guy that he kind of had they debuted a set of wheels that were very similar to them, and
Right.
so hooking up with those guys. I hooked up with those guys.
Yeah, I brought you over there. I was like, buddy, you got to see these wheels.
Yes.
And then we go to this.
And so.
Yeah.
And so I start talking to these guys, and then next thing you know, I'm designing these wheels that they're going to start producing for everybody, and not knowing on the back end there's people giving deposits. And so me and I don't remember the guy's name, we're working together, and we're coming up with these wheels. And long story short, they did not deliver. Let's just put it that way. And then Andy hooked us up with the guys that built your wheel.
Right. Yeah. Rims carnated. Yeah.
Oh man, those guys are unbelievable. So those guys, I sat down with a buddy of mine, Patrick, and he, I needed some help. Evan was just so buried with, making other parts that he just did not have time to do some of the things on this car. And so, I got with Patrick Sucro, and we designed those wheels together. And then, rims carded, they machined them and did an unbelievable job.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Where you're looking 10 years ago when you were building cars, it's like you could get a custom billet set of wheels, but it was like you needed it was a whole different deal than it is today. And now there are some resources that we have in the building world of things to really do stuff different. Like when you look at that, the video for a second showed that door panel, and it's like when you look at the door panel on the car, right? There's so much going on that door panel, and most people would just kind of gloss over it. You know what I mean? But people that know what a typical Volkswagen looks like, when you're going to look at that panel, you're going to know that there's so much work that's gone into that. It's just such a perfectly formed interior. It just looks so good. I mean, that's the craziest part, right? These cars are so simple to begin with. And then when you started doing whatever you're doing with this, like going down the road for the Slonaker Award, it was just like whatever it takes, right? And there's a fine line, right? Because you can do some stuff and kind of ruin the look of the car. And I think this car,
you can throw up on it.
Yeah, it's definitely got so much custom stuff to it. It's just, there's no wonder that you won. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to be incredibly stoked to come back and win after your first time out there. But getting back to the build on the car. So with respect to parts you had done, there was a picture here of it, because that's why I had to take pictures, because when I'm looking at the car, I didn't even notice half of the stuff that was done. Like when you said, like, this is a picture you sent me of the trailing arms that are all custom machined and all. And it's just like, even it's like, even the end caps that you have holding them to the torsion bars it looks like a revolver, you know what I mean? Like almost like a 6-shooter type thing, but it's just so crazy. The level of detail that you guys went to, and
all that stuff under there, all that stuff you just looked at, all that stuff Evan made.
Yeah, it's just incredible, and it's with respect to the trailing arms. Now those are machined out of steel, like cast iron.
Yeah, no, just regular steel. I don't know. I don't know what alloy. I don't know.
You left that up to the
I
machinist.
think I would assume it's just. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, do what you do. Now talk to me about this exhaust.
Yeah.
The exhaust you have on here is kind of wild with the fittings, everything here. Who designed the exhaust on this?
Matt Todd.
That is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Him and Doug were talking, and he wanted to build something that did not like like a sidewinder or anything, like all that stuff hangs down. You can see it from the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I had the garage open. I was walking up behind the car today, and it was actually the first time that it dawned on me, because I had the split and the Ghia parked side by side, and you could see the sidewinder hanging down. I'm like, whoa, what a difference! It's just such a difference,
Yeah, I mean that exhaust
awesome.
is tucked up super tight inside, and that's the other thing.
Yeah, he made the mufflers from scratch. Everything. I mean, he packed those mufflers, and yeah, he did an amazing job on those things.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Unless you have an hour and a half by yourself next to the car to look at the way, I mean, to see this exhaust pull up in the back and then tuck up into the apron and then drop down just so the tips pop out. And then the under panels, that you have here. I mean, it's just, it's just absolutely insane. The level of detail, not to mention, all the additional machine work that's been done on the pan. I mean, it's no wonder why it won without question. And it's just been something that
without question.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so cool that it's done that. Now on the dash in the center of the dash, you've got kind of a, is that kind of the logo for the car? Kind of a swooped.
Yeah.
Kind of the Karmann Ghia body line.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now the gauges on the dash look like split window gauges, or the knobs look like split window knobs.
Yeah.
So you took split window knobs and had them custom machined and made switch covers for those.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we did the push button on the other side.
Oh, on the left side where the key normally goes?
Yeah, we put a push button start right there.
Now this shifter, I see it's got a push button on the top of the shifter there. Is that the actual reverse lockout?
Oh yeah. Evan designed that and machined that.
That is wild, man. Now
the e-brake.
And the steering wheel?
Yeah, he did that too.
So the steering wheel was out of a solid block of aluminum.
Yeah, I think it was 390 pounds it started with, and I think we weighed it, and it was 9 pounds when it was all done.
Holy cow. But you've got to get something that big to be able to machine the actual steering wheel. Now, what kind of machine time does it take to make that steering wheel?
Oh, it was multiple days, I think. 2 days, I think. I mean, he's setting that thing up in different fixtures, and
that's wild.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here looking. This is probably the first time I've actually enjoyed looking at this car.
Now the gauges, the gauge bezels you have, those are all custom machined as well. Now, what type of gauges are in the car?
Those are factory gauges. We just restored them and custom painted them.
So you restored, custom painted the gauges, and then made custom trim bezels for them?
Yeah.
And then I mean, I can even see that the steering column mount is custom. So like
everything from that steering. I mean, you looking at everything all the way down to the steering box. Evan made that, and the way that car steers is unbelievable. It was huge difference.
Really,
huge. I couldn't believe the difference. Yeah, oh yeah.
Did he make? Is it rack and pin, or he made a steering box for it?
No. We bought a steering box and then modified the steering box.
Yeah. And so you've had I've seen you drive the car in and out of the trailer and around the parking lot a little bit.
Yeah. Let's
talk about the motor and transaxle setup on this. What's the motor and transaxle setup, and who are the builders?
Doug Gonzalez from RevMaster, he built the motor. And so that particular combination, and I'm laughing at that because I think I don't know how many times before we finally pulled the trigger, I don't know how many times that motor combination changed. I mean, and when I say change, we just didn't change our mind. We actually had the parts bought and then went another direction and then went another direction. I think like 4 or 5 times we did that.
Yeah.
And finally we came up with that combo, and I have no idea what is in that thing. Doug won't tell me. he doesn't trust me to like, so I don't, because he knows I don't keep my mouth shut with that kind of stuff.
Right. Now so the motor's like a 2386, built to drive. I mean,
yeah, I mean, this is a show motor. We have 2 motors for it. This is a show motor essentially, but I am going to drive it. And with this, we're going to do another video of us driving this car, because all the people that are commenting about, you know, what a waste, it doesn't drive. I mean, that's just like the most ignorant comment like people can make. And so we're going to drive it here pretty soon, you know, put some miles on it, like real actual miles.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, a lot of these cars, you know, they're kind of built for, like, this was built for a purpose, right? This car was built.
Yes.
It was built to take the Slonaker Award, which is like mission accomplished,
that
right?
Was it.
And now that it's built, now it's Dennis, right? Owner.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Yeah.
So Dennis plans to put a few miles in the car.
Yeah. Once we get done showing it at the end of the year, probably a year and a half, then we'll swap out the motors and then he'll drive it around a little bit. Not crazy, you know?
Right. Well, just, you know, something.
You know, and that's the thing too, is like, you know, we built Wayne Callahan's car because we knew he was going to drive it.
Right.
This car right here, we built it to go to shows and drive occasionally. You know, if you want to go to Cars and Coffee, yes, you can drive that. You can hop in that car in my garage right now and drive it to Cars and Coffee. Everything works on that car. There's nothing that's hidden. You know, obviously we got to work all the bugs out and stuff, but that's the fun part of driving it.
Well, the interesting thing is, if you look back at a lot of those cars from back in the 80s and stuff like that, a lot of those cars were show only. Like, they looked like they drew,
Right.
They looked like they drove, but they like, I mean, I you know, Andy bought the Ghia, Dennis Hyde's Ghia, got it all the way to England, tore it apart, and like was getting ready to drive the car, and it's like, there was no wire, there was no wiring in the car. You know, it was, so when they say it was for show, like, it was literally for show.
Yep.
You know,
no, and that was another factor for us too when we were building this car. You know, I didn't want to take it to the show and then have to pull something back apart to finish it after that. No, we drove that car in there and you know, they look at that.
And that's also part of the criteria for the car too, right? You pull the car up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So when you're going for a Slonaker, what's that like? So when you pull into the Roadster Show, and then like they pull you on the carpet, they check out the car. Like, what's that whole thing like?
Yeah. I mean, they watch that car run and, you know, come in the building, and, you know, it rolls in front of their table, and they're not going to tell you how awesome it is. They're not going to tell you all of these amazing things about it. No, they're ripping that car apart. Their job is to find everything wrong with that. So it's not one of those things where you're high-fiving those guys. No, it's the exact opposite. You know, you go across that table and you're like, well, here we go.
And so the pictures that they had on the Roadster Show, where they showed all the cars parked against the backdrop, is that during the judging process of that car?
That's the start of the judging right there.
So
and then you basically do a 10-minute, you know, you talk to them about 10 minutes. You just tell them everything that's been done to it. And then, you know, from there, you start opening everything up, and they come with their lights and they start inspecting right away. Like right there.
Yeah. It's definitely a pressure cooker, right? To be going for the Slonaker, because you're up against, and I think the cool part about it is the variety of the cars that were in that setup are just so crazy. I mean,
real different.
Because the car across from you at an angle, I mean, you had from the Studebaker to the 37 Chevy sedan to the like
Chevelle.
the Chevelle, and then 57 Chevy, and then you've got that Mopar.
Did you look at that Chevelle? Like, did you really look at that Chevelle?
I walked by it. I didn't get a chance to really check it out. And a lot of these cars. Now, who built the Chevelle? Do you know do you know the builders?
I forget the guy's name. Yeah, no, Doug kind of ruffled some feathers when those guys rolled in, so I don't think they liked us too much after that.
Oh, Doug was with you, and he kind of. Upset the
Yeah,
apple
because
cart.
their cars, and I didn't know it, their car's quiet. Like he came in and their car's really quiet. That's 1,000+ horsepower car. And I guess Doug walks up to the guy. He's like, "What is that? A 6-cylinder in there?" And I'm like, "No, you didn't. You didn't." Oh man, but it's good fun. He's just teasing
Right.
with them. But I'm like, Doug, you can't be doing that stuff, man.
Yeah, they take it pretty seriously.
Oh, he was.
Now back on the motor real quick. That motor is a
2387.
2387. I know I've got a video of
Yeah.
it, but so I've got this set up here of the motor, and this is before you put the fan on. And what a lot of people didn't recognize or didn't realize is that the motor is that fan setup. Let me get to that fan picture. That fan is dead center of the entire engine compartment.
And I can't believe I didn't send you any better pictures of the motor.
And what's interesting is that engine is made, that the tin on that motor, it's not fiberglass like all of the other ones out there.
No,
it's actual steel.
It's all sheet metal.
So it's all sheet metal, and it was all TIG weld. Like all those pieces are all put together.
Yep. Matt Todd, and Matt Todd did that stuff, and we hardly have any filler in that. And all those tins barely have any filler in it. He did such an amazing job on that stuff.
Yeah, that's insane, man. And one of the big things about it is the fan is dead center, which means you had to come up with your own pulley system to adjust the belt tension. So you have like two is one a fix and one's a tensioner. Is that how it goes? Or are they both adjustable?
Well, both of those are tensioners.
Really?
Yeah, Patrick designed those, and you can tension those with your fingers like no problem. And Evan machined all that stuff. And
wow.
And another thing too, and I wish I had the photo too, but that strap, Evan machined that strap out of one piece of aluminum. So there's no, you know how like a factory or a Porsche one will have that spring tensioner on the top that tightens that shroud down.
Right.
There's none of that. And I wish I would have sent you a better picture because that stuff's awesome.
Yeah, it's it's just so crazy the level of stuff that's done on this car. I mean, I can't get over the interior because the interior is just such a wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's my favorite part of the car.
Yeah, and then the seats. Now with the seats being cut down low like that, it's probably nice in a car in a Ghia because Ghia's the seat sits pretty high, and then to sit nice and low like that makes the car probably feel a lot bigger for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's that.
Yeah. There you go. Right there. Yeah. There's a better picture of it. Yeah.
So those are the tensioners, and then you adjust the dials here on the side to add tension
on the side
to
of it. Exactly. Yeah. And it's all done by hand. I didn't even put a wrench to those. I tightened them up by hand, and then I locked the little tensioners down, and that thing fired right up. I mean, that design right there, if anybody wants to copy that, good luck. There's a ton of hours into that.
Yeah.
Months of design time went into that because you have to be precise on everything.
Yeah, and the center mount shroud to be dead center is pretty wild because everybody builds it off of the alternator stand. Now, what did you do with the alternator stand? It's just sealed up, the hole for the alternator.
Yeah. It's all under. Yeah, it's all under that base.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we took the distributor because it's the crank trigger. So we took the distributor hole and we turned that into our oil fill. So that's how we fill the oil up.
Oh, that's rad. Yeah, it's just so crazy to see so you had sent me this video here of putting the clutch on it. So it's got like a Rev 6 clutch setup on it too.
Yeah.
Or like clutch management type setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is and Doug's the guy known for having the green Mamba, right? Like Doug's drag racer extraordinaire, so he knows. Yeah. he knows what's up. So this thing's been built to like straight rip. Yeah, there's a better picture of the fan shroud, which looks like the fan shroud is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pieces. 14 pieces welded together and sanded for days to look that clean.
And like I said, there's hardly, you looked at all the welds on the inside of that fan shroud, and you look at how well that's metal finished. He did such an amazing job.
Yeah. And
Great job. Carlos body worked that thing. And, when I say body worked, we polyed it, he blocked it, and, it got down in all the little just detailed areas, and just an amazing job, and, Doug was the creator of that, let's move that fan shroud to the center. And I fought him on it for months. I'm like, man, that's going to be so much fucking work. And sure as shit, it was a ton of work. But, we hid all the wires. And this is another thing about this car. There's only 3 visible wires on this car.
Yeah,
only 3.
You can't see anything. All the wiring's hidden.
Yeah, all the wiring's hidden.
Yeah, and so the it's just and the front hood hinges are custom as well.
Oh yeah,
those are all machined. I mean, like now, what are these? There's these aluminum scoops here on the side, inside the engine compartment.
So we have so those are covers for all the fuse box panels. There's fuse box panels and
nice
in both under both those boxes.
Oh, nice.
The funny thing, we were doing the designing the top of that gas tank. We designed it. And I'm like, God, kind of looks like a radiator, I'm like, I wonder how many people we're gonna fuck with and be like, is the motor in the front, is this a radiator? There were a couple people like, is the radiator, is this a radiator? I'm like, yeah, it's a radiator.
It does look like the top of a radiator tank for sure if you're looking at it. And you're a guy trying to figure out what kind of car
so we're
it
kind
is.
of messing around with that. Yeah.
No, I like it. And then all the matte finish, is that all Cerakote or is it just matte paint?
No, that's all matte paint.
Jeez,
yeah, everything's painted.
Now
Jesus. I mean, you look at all the detail and all that stuff. Dennis and Jesus, mainly Jesus. I mean, that he masked all that stuff off for me, and he did such an amazing job.
I mean, you've got, and then the hardware on this car. All the hardware is custom made, where it's like, it looks like it looks like almost like a turbine on all the on all the bolts to kind of make each bolt looks like it's spinning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted a lot of the stuff look like it was in motion when the car was sitting still. That was kind of like the idea behind it.
Yeah, it's definitely another level of I saw something here. I don't know what this is. So you and Troy have a little back and forth every now and again, or what?
Oh yeah.
Because Troy used to be a VW guy. Didn't he start out in VWs?
I think his dad did. I think he's always been a hot rods, but I think his dad was into it.
Yeah.
Someone he knew.
Now, is the top of the gas tank bead rolled?
Oh yeah. So Mikey at Driven Speed Shop made that gas tank. It's
a custom gas tank in the car?
Oh yeah.
Made to look like the original humpback tank.
Exactly, yeah. I had it laid out to where it was, pretty much flat. It actually went all the way back and then kind of dropped down, and it just didn't look right in there. So we put the humpback back in it, and I just like that look better. Some cars, you can get away with it, like the Bugs, you can get away with a square tank like that, but not on these, I don't think. It just didn't look right.
So when you pull in to go to the Roadster Show, you get in, you're all set up. What is obviously, there was a monster crowd around the car basically the whole day that we were there. It just seemed like everybody just kept swarming the car all day. And this was the area where all the cars that were going for a Slonaker were there. But it was definitely something that it just seemed like it was getting a lot of attention. I mean, especially your space, right? They probably couldn't have given you a better spot right by the doors where everybody's coming in. That
was a good spot.
There's just so many people just able to check the car out.
Yeah, and the guy that won it last year was in that spot too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Well, but the crazy part is this is just a judging panel. It has nothing to do with the public making any decisions. This is a judging panel. Now, who's on the judging panel to judge these cars? Is it like known builders?
Well, yeah, builders, and Steve Strope, right?
Yeah, Steve Strope. He's a monster.
Yeah, he's one of the judges. Troy Ladd's one of the judges. Yeah. Brian Anderson and
that's
a couple other guys. There's 5 of them.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
And they're not there to be your buddy and tell you what a good job you did and pat you on the back.
Right.
And that's what the best part about it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's they're judging the car. You're not bringing your car to an event and 20 of your buddies roll in and and they're judging for your car. This is actual real deal stuff.
Right. And which has kind of been the complaint with some of the VW events where they started getting really lazy and setting it up to where it's like, we'll just have participants judge the cars. And it's like, what's the point of building something super sick if it's like it's subject to everybody's, is it their flavor?
Well, look at all the promoters that's taken over these VW events. Tell me one that's gotten better. You can't, because it's just worse. They've they're lazy. They want to do the least amount of work as possible, put the most amount of money in their pocket. It's horrible.
Yeah, that was my complaint last year for the show I went to in the summertime. Is it just felt like a money grab to me. It was like, it was like you're paying your $20 to park in this park, and then you're going to park at the first available space. Mm-hmm. There's no organization. There's no flow to it. We're not going to have people directing cars. You're parked where you're parked, and that's it. And it's like,
well, and not only that, look at the people that's taking them over. It's the son, you had the Holes, you had Kimball, that they started these events. The parents started the events.
Yeah.
So then they hand it off to the kids that didn't have to work for any of it, and they go into the toilet.
Well, and I think part of the problem is, and that's why I've been so focused on making One Crazy Weekend just such a good time. Like, you register for the show, you get free stuff when you register for the show. You're getting last year we did the free souvenir photographs. So you pulled your car in front of the marquee sign. We had a photographer there taking pictures. So just like in old Vegas, like you just get a thing with your car underneath the marquee sign at the Orleans. You get poker chips, you get sticker packs, you get a poster, you get all kinds of stuff that everybody else sells.
You care. They don't care. They just want the money and do the least amount of work as possible. And I'm not talking bad about them. That's the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to start One Crazy Weekend, because first, it's Vegas. Second, it's something that we can make like no other. And, like this year, I don't think you were at the poker tournament this last year. Were you? Do you showed up on Friday, or you showed up Thursday last year?
I don't remember.
Because we did
there was a blur.
I know. There was a poker tournament on Thursday night, which was just too wild to watch. Doug Berg and Clyde Berg and the Romero brothers battling it out, and like watching all these guys play poker that have no idea how to play poker, and the dealer's telling them, okay, you can do this or you can do that. It's just like there's 40 people playing poker, and out of the 40, maybe 5 knew how to play poker, and the rest were just kind of figuring out. But it's one of those things where it now becomes this event where people can bring their cars to show off. And what I really enjoy about, like, we have the best of show trophy that you give out. We put some cash with that. So you get $1,000 for showing up. You know what I mean? It's like, when was the last time? I mean, the Holes actually started to do it towards the end before they started getting, cause they're not from SoCal, before they started getting, kind of sabotaged over there. And so they saw the value in like giving some cash back to the guys that bring these cars out, and
short-lived.
Yeah. And then, with the custom billet award that you make, plus the cash. And then in addition to that, like even and that's the thing, like we talked about, all these guys had to do was go around to these shops and get people in the community that actually care about these cars to get them to do cool stuff like this. But it's their mindset's a lot different than yours, I think, when it comes to that aspect of it. I think sometimes when you're too much behind the scenes, like just trying to, when your focus is make an event that makes money versus like make an event that people will pay anything to go to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the event at One Crazy Weekend, it's now, it's really become an event. Like I released rooms like probably, last Friday they released the rooms for One Crazy Weekend, and the first block of rooms was gone. And she said, well, this is a great problem to have. We're just opening up more rooms. You know what I mean? And so they're going to make sure.
Are you doing it at the same hotel? Are you doing it at the same hotel, or are you moving it? Oh,
nope,
okay. Because you were going to you talked about moving it.
Well, what happened was they had said to me, that, oh, you're too big for the front space. We're going to have to move you. And I said, nope, I got to stay there. I got to stay there. I got to move the show to someplace, because the whole vibe of being right out front of the hotel and casino is so cool that like you walk out the front doors, you're not in the back alley around the corner. And
yeah, right.
This year it's going to be even better because, we'll get it to max capacity. We're going to lock down the parking lot a little bit better during the show time. But for the most part, there's going to be more. There's going to be like a 80s cover band playing in the lounge. There's going to be there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be a little different this year. But the bowling tournament, the poker tournament, it becomes like the classic would be such a blur for us because we'd jam down there, hang out, do a little, run around doing all the stuff. And then by the time the weekend's over, you're kind of like burnt out and you really didn't have that much fun. You know what I mean? Because you were so busy doing it. Now, when we weren't showing cars, but like for you, you're showing cars and you're stressed out and it's like a whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's work.
Yeah. And then now with One Crazy Weekend, because I know I was on you for a while, like, dude, you got to come, you got to check it out. And then you came, checked it out, and you're like, bro, this was a blast. Like, I'd never had this much fun at a show. And now it's become this thing where people from all around the world are focused on coming to this show because, number one, it's Vegas. And you had Vegas and Volkswagens together and a bunch of VW idiots cruising the strip together. I mean,
yeah. And you throw Spike in there.
Yeah. You throw Andy. Yeah. And I mean, like all that just gets to be, it's just, it's stuff where
he makes, for me, that guy makes it. That guy makes the entire show, man. Yeah. It's like, he's unreal. He's unreal.
Yeah. It makes the weekend, but that's the thing. Everybody can kind of link up with friends they haven't seen in a while. It becomes a meeting point. It becomes a place where everybody can hang out, get together.
Yeah.
And if you never leave the property, it doesn't even matter because everything's there on site. Everybody can hang out, lounge together. And this year, Sunday, we're actually, Spike's doing so last year, all the guys from England stayed Sunday because they flew out Monday. And so they all hung out at the pool area. And so this year, Joey Giordano and Andy Fincher are going to sponsor the Sunday cool down at the pool down. So it's going to be kind of a pool party on Sunday. So
at the hotel,
at the hotel. Yeah. So that's going to be,
no way. That's awesome.
That's going to be a good time. So it just keeps building to be more of a memorable weekend where you can get together with friends you haven't seen in a while. You get to enjoy the hobby. And that was always my advice to you and to anybody that's in the hobby as a business is like, come to the event and just hang out at the event and remember why you love these cars, why you find those same people that aren't super cliquey, that everybody's just cool and mellow. I mean, I see you all the time. There's all kind of people coming up to you, talking to you like, oh man, that car you did is super cool. And it's more of a relaxed environment, because when you're at a show, it's like you get there at 6 a.m, you've been prepping the car till 8 o'clock, and then you're just racking yourself over like how the car looks the whole time. And then by the time the show's over, everybody's gone. You don't get a chance to chat with anybody or hang out or do any of that kind of stuff. So it just becomes this whole stress deal. And so that's why I kept telling, Lanny, all these guys that were coming down, I'm like, guys, just come down and enjoy the show, and just be part of it, which is why there's the driving aspect to it with the poker run. I mean, the poker run's a riot. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So that's a good time. That's a blast.
So
back on Andy though. I mean, I don't think I've ever met anybody with as much passion as that guy has for Volkswagens. That guy, like, he sparked something in me a long time ago. I was like, man, this guy he's just awesome. Dude.
Yeah. And he's just like, he just knocked out his Ghia, painted it that money green. And he's that dude's on fire, man.
Yeah.
But
Good times.
no, it's listen, I mean, congratulations on the
Thank
Grand
you.
National Roadster Show award. I mean, that's a
Yep.
massive benchmark, especially in today's level of hot rods. I mean,
Yeah.
because that
Well,
car transcends the Volkswagen scene, and it is in the
right.
full bath of the car culture, like the custom
Right.
car arena. And for
Right.
for you to be able to be one of us VW guys and come out there, and you're not a hot rod guy that got into VWs just so you could build your hot rod version of VW. Like, you saw what they were doing, and you brought your A game. And I mean,
Yeah.
what did it feel like when you knew that you won?
Man, it was surreal.
Yeah.
It was just surreal. And and I'm not gonna lie, it's like, what do I do now? That kind of set in like right away. Well, like, that crosses your mind right away, and
Yeah.
it's like, holy shit, I can't believe we just pulled this off, But the thing about it too is just like, to take these little cars that people disrespect,
Yeah.
talk down on, and bring it to that caliper of a show, and to do that good, it was unbelievable.
And obviously your whole team at Type 1 Restoration is, let's give everybody a mention who's on the team, who helped you deliver that car. So all the guys at the shop.
Yeah, so many people. The list, I'm going to try to do my best on Instagram to thank everybody, but the main core: Carlos, Jesus, Adam, Jake, Evan, Mike Bailey, Matt Todd, Mikey from Driven. I mean, there's so many hands at Patrick. I don't want to start naming people because I'm going to leave so many people out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
I mean, it's an endless amount of people.
Yeah. And, also without builders without people willing to write the check for cars like this, they don't exist. You know what I mean? And find those people.
No, they don't. You hit the nail on the head. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've thanked Dennis and like just thanked him so much for the opportunity, and for him to just continue to pay and just to no end. I mean, there's a lot of money in this car, and he gave us everything we needed, and he didn't need to. You know what I mean? He could be off on an island somewhere doing whatever he wanted to be doing, but he chose to do this and kind of take this ride together. And you hit the nail on the head. Without him, this doesn't go. Point blank. Without that guy, it doesn't go. Without guys like you supporting us, it doesn't go.
Now with the first go round with Turmoil at the Roadster Show, getting exposure in that hot rod world, did that change anything for you with like people reaching out to you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple of opportunities come through our door, and they wanted a high-end build, But that's the thing too, is like, and I did these cars back to back, so that's essentially 8 years of my life, and just hyper focused on that. So a lot of things at the shop have suffered, other projects, and it's impossible to have a small shop to make everybody happy, to get all the jobs done, meet all the deadlines without stuff falling behind, because when you get a part off the machine, you're like, okay, this is going to take me a couple hours, and it takes 3 days to finish out.
Right.
And the whole job is like that. It's mind-boggling how much time goes into these cars.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely a commitment. Like, you see something like this and get to this point and finally make it through it. And then, like you said, you finish it and you're done and you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so next on the list for you and Karma is going to be taking this car.
Chicago. We're going to Chicago. Yeah.
Now, Chicago, that's not the Riddler stuff, is it?
Well, so this is in hopes, so Riddler is a week prior, and then usually the Riddler winner jumps over to Chicago. And because it's just 2 or 3 days out, so that's our hopes. That car's there, and we can compete against that car and see how we do.
Is that an Autorama? Is that what that show is, or what's the name of that show?
So the Chicago, it's the Legend Cup, and it's World of Wheels.
Okay.
And so we went there last year to look at it or to go check it out. And Rad Rides had their 36 there last year. They actually won it last year. So there's high caliber cars that go out there.
And And when is that? When is that show in Chicago?
When is May 6th?
Oh, so that's May.
No, I'm sorry, March 6th. 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. March 6th.
Wow. So you'll load that car up and head for Chicago. Yeah. And then after Chicago, are you going to do the Triple Crown again this year?
Yeah, that'll be done. We're going over the show. We're going to go over some shows this week with Dennis. I mean, we're going to do SEMA, Triple Crown. We're going to try to do Battle of the Builders, Triple Crown, Barrett Jackson.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to Nebraska. You know, Wheel Hub Live is doing a pretty crazy show that's kind of like, you know, it's in the groundwork right now, but it should be a pretty interesting deal by the time it's all said and done. They're going to have a lot of cars out there.
So if I'm a VW guy and I'm going to go to one of these shows, I'm like, buddy, what show am I going to? I'm going to take Zorb to one of these shows. And not that I plan to win anything, but just to go have fun and bring more VWs out to these hot rod shows. You know what I mean?
Triple Crown.
The Triple Crown's the one. It's a good time.
Oh, they would love that car there. Oh yeah.
So, and Triple Crown's in what, Kentucky?
Tennessee, Nashville.
So it's in Tennessee. That's a drive.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a drive.
Yeah, but you know, but you know what?
But that's part of it.
Correct. It's one of those things where I think it'd be fun to see 5 or 6 or 7 Volkswagens out at those shows.
Yeah.
Just to have them out there. You know what I mean? And there's enough nice Volkswagens that can go out to some of these events and really give these V8 guys a shiner, right? Like they show up, because in that world out there, they get pretty upset when you kind of
ask Wayne Callahan about that when we were at Triple Crown last year and he got a top 30 and the people next to us, man, they were not happy.
They were real upset.
And Wayne, you know, Wayne's the nicest guy and they're giving it to Wayne, you know, and Wayne's like, hey, listen, I'm just here enjoying the show. I don't.
Yeah, that's wild.
The shiner, to say the least. They were upset.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe we should plan a trip and just get a bunch of VW guys to go out there to the Triple Crown. That would be fun, just to support, to go out there to support you guys out there, but also bring some other VWs out just to kind of make a dent in the scene over there. You know, kind of because
and that's the thing is like they appreciate that stuff. They don't, you know. And
I also
they don't
think
look down on the stuff.
I also think like when cars like that go out to these shows, you're inspiring other people to like, it's not even their Rolodex of cars they're thinking to build. And then you show up out there in a Volkswagen and next thing you know, it's the car they want to build next. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do a Volkswagen. So let me do a Volkswagen. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah. No, buddy, listen, man, I think it's fantastic. Congratulations, man. You really made a huge dent in the hobby.
All right, cool.
Well, for sure, man. We'll be in touch. Looking forward to seeing all that stuff come together. And all right. I wish you the best of luck in Chicago and the rest of the shows you're hitting this year, man.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it, brother. If you like that podcast, make sure you share it with your friends. We love when you guys share the podcast. It helps us grow organically and brings in the true enthusiasts that are into the VW scene and are plugged into what's going on with who's doing what in the VW scene. So you want to support the podcast, go to letstalkdubs.com, pick up some merch, and don't forget to support your favorite podcast. Also, One Crazy Weekend registration opens up in a couple weeks, so I'm excited for that. Room registration is open, so go to the website now, letstalkdubs.com, click on One Crazy Weekend 2026, and the link to book your rooms is there. So book your rooms today for One Crazy Weekend, October 1st through the 4th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Orleans Hotel and Casino. So until next week, guys, hey, listen, maybe I see some of you guys out at the Desert Dub Show. So until next week, later.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen